Hey, by the way, tonight's game, New York wins that outright.
You know he's on top. Million subs, he never gonna flop. Out of Chicago, where the streets don't sleep. Betting on games, making cash real deep. Crystal ball for sports, he knows the lines. He's a sports aficionado, the money he finds. From football to basketball, he's always on point. Predicting winners never disappoints. He's got that hustle, that Chicago vibe. Making moves on the streets, cash on the side. With E, you know it's always a bet. He's the king of the game, never forget.
Hello and welcome to the Etoft21sports show for July 13th, January 13th. Jesus, how is everyone doing? My name is Erik. I'm the man behind Etoft21sports. Absolutely loaded episode for you today. My boy Okane, want to pick his head about that Packers loss. I was on the same side as him, had the Packers money line. He is on. We're going to talk some wild card weekend, and we're going to look into our divisional round bets. But before I get into all that, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of the show, PropX. Guys, if you're not using PropX, go to the App Store, download the app, use promo code ETOFT21. That way they know old Uncle Rico sent you. Let's go ahead and let's welcome my boy from the north, from Wisco, Okane. Okane, how you doing today, my man?
I'm good. How are you?
Dude, you know what? My day started out with Wisconsin hitting a 3 to lose my +2, so I'm doing great, man. I am doing absolutely lovely. So
Rocky's hot. I was a little worried. You said July 13th. That would be unfortunate. I'd be missing my we would not be here if it was July 13th. That's my wife and I's anniversary. So would not be joining.
I'll tell you what, man. Like, I don't know what it is, but like I feel like I've been running around with my fucking head cut off. The start of the new year.
It's the dog days of winter. We're getting there.
So, first of all, big news today before we look back at the wild card. I want to ask you two things. Tomlin out. Thoughts?
Not surprised how it happened. He was never going to get fired. There was a 0% chance that they were going to fire him. Yeah, I mean, 19 years, man. That is my entire adult and a large portion of my adolescent life that Mike Tomlin has been the constant. But yeah, it's definitely, it's not surprising. They asked Harbaugh, or they asked, I think it was the owner of the Ravens, if they would have made the playoffs, would he have been the coach there? Yeah, for another week. Yeah. If Tomlin wins this game, would he be the coach there? Yeah, probably for another week. I think it was something that was probably done and accepted earlier on in the year, but no, leaves behind a good legacy. A long list of guys that got one.
I look at it like this. Like, I think he's a hell of a coach. When you look at the lack of talent he had and he was able to constantly get him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think it's a monster. Did he kind of get screwed over when he had like Bell, Brown, Big Ben, those guys?
Head cases left and right, man. He had to just navigate those waters.
He was going up against Tom Brady.
Primetime Brady, primetime Manning, primetime.
And he got one, and that was a tough-ass era to be in. And you look, he was winning with Duck Hodges, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields.
Kenny Pickett.
He was winning. My statement I made earlier in the year was he would be better off if he had a Sean Payton incident, get suspended for a year, they have a high draft pick, and then he gets the quarterback.
And never had a shot at getting a draft pick high enough.
You look at their cap situation is hell. It's an old-ass roster, and you have no quarterback. This is not a desirable position at all. It's going to be interesting to see who the hell they get.
Well, you got a fan base that has been accustomed to winning for now longer than 2 decades. So, yeah, that's probably maybe one of the least favorable jobs that you could get. And with, that's another AFC North coach bites the dust. It's been a brutal offseason.
Taylor, last man standing, dude.
And Zach, if you would have told me at the beginning of the season there were 3 coaches fired, Zach Taylor would have been one of those 3. And you told me Zach Taylor didn't make the playoffs. I mean, my God, are they riding or dying with him? But No, it's been a wild ride for the NFL coaching carousel thus far.
And also, I'm just going to let everyone look at what is behind your head, the backdrop for
I gotta get out of the way. There it is.
What are your thoughts on the Green Bay Packers? What happened?
Yeah, man. Your window's far from closed. You have two, your elite offensive players with, I think, Jacobs and Love. As much as Jacobs did not look great in the last few weeks, he's been very, very banged up. It was a big tale of two seasons for him. But then you got Micah Parsons coming back, and Micah's allegedly going to be back by the first week next year. But there's definitely, as the photo behind me shows, there's some restlessness. But it's already debunked. He's going to be back. MLF is coming back. It'd be nice if we could get another offensive mind in the building. The Packers have never been a team that really has an offensive coordinator that has an input into the offense. It was always Mike McCarthy's offense. It never was kind of a collaboration effort. They've had guys in the building. What's the dipshit that was the coach of the Jets?
Hackett.
Yeah, Nate Hackett, who is back in the building, of course.
He's back?
Oh, yeah, he failed his way upwards and then failed his way right back to Green Bay. So it's going to be an interesting offseason. You have some financial flexibility. You got to figure out your offensive line, who's going to be there, who's not going to be around. There's a lot of money invested in guys like Eldon Jenkins and Rashawn Gary that you got to make some decisions. And then, yeah, I think it did hurt that we didn't have a number one receiver. Christian Watson tried his ass off to be the number one, but he wasn't. But I will say the one nice thing, it was nice to see Matthew Golden finally do stuff. And I think he showed flashes of he could be a good receiver. It was just kind of a goofy year for him. But no, I'm not super worried about it. We've become accustomed to this way of losing over the last decade. So, but no, always disappointing.
Romeo Doubs is a sneaky ass game. That's all I'm going to say. If you guys would have won the game, Doubs would have that awareness to fall on the ball in the end zone, came up with some big throws, big catches. But you're right. They just have a bunch of glorified number two guys. I didn't like the pick of Golden. I thought that pick of Golden was not the best pick.
So, it was a reach. It was one of those things that you're making the pick at home. You haven't picked one in 19 years, whatever it was. Did you force it? Probably. But no, I've honestly, I watched somebody did a cut up of every single snap he had. That is a number two, could be at some point a number one receiver. I think Matthew Golden, I'm not too worried about. And you get Kraft back, who Kraft is, I think, a top 5 tight end in the league.
Yeah, losing Kraft was absolutely.
It's something that a lot of people didn't talk about. It was overshadowed by losing Micah Parsons, but you lost your best asset in the passing game.
Let's go ahead. Let's look back at the wild card weekend. What is your takeaway from the wild card?
Well, takeaway from the wild card weekend is the NFL playoffs are a hell of a lot more exciting than the college football playoff. My goodness. I would say that my takeaway was this was, as much as it did hurt me personally, it was a hell of a weekend of football. Every single game up until the Sunday night and the Monday night game, the first 3 delivered. And those are the 3 that the majority of people watched. So that was kind of my takeaway. It was a really good, I think it was a really good weekend for the NFL. And it was a great weekend for the over. I didn't get in on the Overfest. I wish I would have. But I did get in on the San Francisco Fest, which that's a little foreshadowing as well.
My big takeaway is just don't hire your friends. This is a 0. I mean, literally 0 reason why the Eagles, with all that talent, should have lost the 49ers. A team that was missing its best player on each level of the defense.
Every single one.
And this is where Sirianni deserves criticism. Mm-hmm. When Moore left to become the head coach of the Saints, Sirianni promoted his friend Kevin Paletmo to the offensive coordinator. That decision flat out cost the Eagles this season.
Very underqualified.
When you look at their offense, last year they were 6th DVOA in rushing. This year, 24th. Last year, they averaged 184 run rushing yards per game, second most in the NFL. This season, all the way down to 118.2, 17th in the league, 70-yard drop. Last season, 4.9 yards per carry, 5th best in the league. This season, 4.2 yards, 21st, excuse me. And when you can't run the ball, everything else falls apart. Last year, the Eagles were 8th in first downs per game. This season, 25th. Because of that, they led the league in 3 and outs. There is no world when the offense has the offensive line the Eagles do. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert look this dysfunctional. You need an offensive coordinator with a real scheme, someone who knows how to design an offense, more importantly, how to adjust once defense starts figuring you out. Their OC couldn't do that, and because of that, the Eagles are out of the playoffs in a wide-open NFC. And now today, guess what? They fired him, which brings me to one more thing. You said what you had to say about Mike Tomlin. I'm going to say this. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. When you look
More often than not, it's not.
When you look at the Titans would gladly take Mike Vrabel back. And I think the Eagles, when you look at what Reed's doing, they probably take Andy Reid back. You fire guys that have success because you think the next guy is going to be great, and you never get it back. So I would just be careful. Steelers under next season, absolute hammer spot for me. Absolute hammer spot. I absolutely don't even care what the number is.
Steelers and Bears, those are the two.
Oh, God. And quick shout out to the Seton Hall coach who didn't foul when they're down 5 with 3 seconds left to get the +6 home. Shout out to my man. Let's go ahead. Let's dive into our bets. But before we get into that, we need to take a gander back at how we did last week. Disappointing 2-4 last week with Taylor hitting the Texans and Steelers under 39.5, but losing the Eagles -4.5 and the Chargers +3.5. Old Uncle Rico hit the Panthers +10.5, lost Kincaid over 35.5 yards receiving, and the Steelers +3.5 for the show. We are 61-50-3 in our bets. Can't really complain. Had a good year so far, so we're looking to keep it going. Let's go ahead. Those watching for the first time, we each have 3 bets, and let's kick it off, my friend.
Yeah, so we just talked about them, and I've got the 49ers +7.5 going into Seattle. Voodoo Magic. They're going up against the Voodoo Magic is going up against the best team against the spread in the league. The Niners just have not made sense. We talked about it with injuries at every single level. Every single guy just keeps to be stepping up. You've got Brock Purdy, who threw 2 interceptions last week, and they still managed to beat the Eagles as heavy dogs. San Francisco is 7-1 against the spread in the last 8 games, and you look at Seattle's offense, it's gotten clunky a little bit. Sam Darnold went, it was kind of the tale of 2 years. I talked about it with Josh Jacobs. I think it's kind of the same way with Sam Darnold. Since week 11, Seattle dropped from the #1 pass DVOA to 25th, which is obviously a massive drop. Their rushing attack is 24th in yards per carry. This is just going to come down to the Niners putting up points. If the Niners can get on the board and take care of the football, I think that's what is going to get this game done. The 2 things to me that I take away from the Niners last week is Purdy throwing 2 interceptions and then you rushing the ball 25 times for 75 yards at 3 yards a clip and still winning that football game. There is something goofy going on with the 49ers. I don't think we see a similar dud that we saw last time that Seattle went to San Francisco. Did you see the theory of why 49ers players are getting injured?
Yeah, what is it, the plant or something?
There's an electrical substation next to their facility, and there's some guy that's a lot smarter than I am that is posting some very interesting theories. I would urge everybody, if you haven't taken a look, go look up the electronic substation theory with the San Francisco 49ers. It's something.
And also you mentioned, I think the matchup for this plays out well just because McCaffrey's such a vital part of the passing game. Seattle has given up the 6th most receiving yards to backs this year. I think you really tackling that. My boy, Old Man, checking in. Can't trust Darnold to win with margin. Yeah, I thought this was the spot for Oklahoma against Florida, and Oklahoma is nowhere to be found with Old Man Nigel Pack. Daniel, what it is up, my friend? Nate is back. Guys, you got any questions about the games and everything? Fire them in there, and we'll do our best to answer them. My first bet is I am going to the Los Angeles Rams minus 2.5 for the first half. There's some real voodoo with Caleb Williams when you break it down. You look at his first half versus second half splits, everything drops off. Completion percentage down, passing yards down, touchdowns down, yards per attempt down. Trends back it up too. For his career, Williams 13 and 21 ATS, just 38.2% against the number. This season, he's 7 and 10 ATS in the first half. Hasn't covered a first half spread since week 15 against the Browns at home. Since week 8, he's 3 and 8 against the spread in the first half. The teams he did cover the first half spread against this season, the Vikings twice, Commanders, Browns, Saints, Cowboys, and Eagles. Eagles, the only playoff team. Matchup favors the Rams. Defensively, they run a 4-1-6 front. Against that look, Williams, 58% completion percentage, 0 touchdowns, 1 INT, and a minus 4.45 EPA. Rams also run out zone coverage 75% of the time. Williams has struggled against zone all season. Every interception he's thrown this season or in the regular season, there's only 3, but all came against zone coverage. But noticeably better against man. On the other side, Stafford banged up his finger, gets a full week to recover. This matchup sets up perfectly for him. Bears play zone coverage 63% of the time. Stafford's been excellent against zone, 66.8% completion percentage, 2.4 to 1 TD to INT ratio, and a positive 0.29 EPA per play. With how bad the Bears defense have been, I think the Rams move the ball early and often here. I'll take them first half. I think they come out flat too. Chicago is acting like this is their Super Bowl. First of all, if I went to the grocery store on Saturday morning, if I had one more motherfucker look at me and say bear down when I was leaving, I would have fucking threw a hat.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
excited. Let him be excited.
You know, I'm just like, Jesus, dude. And I'm
with you. I mean, I completely agree. One of my bets, and I'll piggyback off. I don't think it's the next one you have. It's the first half under.
You want to go to that one right now?
Yeah, I mean, might as well. We just talked about it. And a lot of what you said is kind of how I feel. Chicago just does not come out of the box well for whatever reason. They do a lot of things well, but they're third in second half scoring. They're 18th in first half scoring. At home, they fall out of the top 25. I mean, the Rams, in contrast, to your credit, they average north of 15. They're one of the best scoring first half teams. I could totally see this thing end up being a 17-6 is kind of the number that I keep thinking of. I don't think Chicago just doesn't score touchdowns in the first half. They kick field goals, and field goals are what's going to get us home. So I got under 24. I got it at even money. I unfortunately don't live in a retail state. I could have got 25.5, which I would have loved, even at minus 120. But
okay, well, with the tax laws, you should be happy that you.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
What the fuck happened to the Bucks? Yeah, I had that game circled. I was going to take the Bucks. I was going to lay the points. I did not do it.
Yeah, there was no Ant, no Gobert.
Yep, and the Bucks were laying 2.5, and they
laid egg
33. My next bet, and this is the same one I had last week, and I'm going back to it, and I don't effing care. Give me Dalton Kincaid over 35.5 receiving yards. The Bills don't have much of the wide receiver. Gabe Davis hurt. Was Shaver hurt? You know, Denver is elite defending opposing wideouts. Now you have Curtis Samuel, was Shakir, and Brandon Cooks. I think this is where you use the tight end to attack Kincaid. The Broncos rank 18th DVOA defending tight ends, allowing 59.7 yards per game, 10.7 yards per catch to the position. Those numbers are the second highest amongst playoff teams, 9th highest in the league overall. Also, I'm going to throw out the Chargers game because the Chargers had the starters benched. Trey Lawrence was the quarterback. So let's look at the last 4 real games, how the tight ends did. Kelsey, 36 yards. Brandon Strange, 39. Your boy Musgrave, 52. Brock Bowers, 46. All the last 4 went over this 35.5 number, averaging 43.3 yards per game. As for Kincaid, he went over this number in 8 of his last 12 games. 8 of his 12 games this season. He did go under in the wild card round, but was second on the team in targets, which matters. Denver giving up the 20th fewest wide receiver yards to wide receivers, ranking 5th DVOA against wide receiver ones, 13th against wide receiver twos. The path of less resistance is clearly the tight ends. Despite only playing 12 games this season, finished second on the team in receiving yards, receptions, and third in targets. I think this matchup sets up well for a bounce back. Give me Dalton Kincaid over 35.5 receiving yards, my friend.
No, I like it. I like that for everything you said. I don't have anything in that game. I lean. If you had to lean aside in that game, what are you thinking?
I'm taking the Bills. I mean,
I agree.
I think the Broncos suck.
I watched the Broncos. The Packers had the Broncos in the third quarter. We were up 9, about to receive a punt, and they blew that game. I just don't think highly of these teams that we blew leads to. So, no, I'm with you. I'm probably going to end up being on the Bills as well. This will be an interesting one. Patriots and Texans. We get a little throwback from the earlier, I think it was probably like 2011-ish, 2010, when the Texans wore the varsity jackets up to Foxborough and got their teeth kicked in. This one, I've got Patriots under 22.5. Went team total. I kind of went back and forth with the game total, New England's team total. But honestly, how fourth quarters exploded last week, I'm kind of concerned about, and that's another reason I went with the first half under in the Bears-Rams game is fourth quarters absolutely exploded last week. But Houston, they've held 7 of their last 8 opponents underneath this total. Only 3 teams have eclipsed this total this season against them. It's not surprising. They were the number 1 scoring defense. They allowed 16.7 points per game. I couldn't back Houston with the number. I don't trust their offense completely. New England, they have maybe the second best defense in the league. I think you could probably argue that, maybe second or third. I do believe the idea for Houston is to grind it out. That's kind of been their MO all season. They were 4th in the league in time of possession. New England was 5th. I was a little worried about the Texans going on the road pretty much all the way through the playoffs here to have to go to some cold teams, but I'll tell you what, those boys did not look cold in Pittsburgh. I'm going to go Patriots under 22.5 against Houston. I got that even money.
Kevin chiming in, who you got in the Niners and Hawks game? We went over that one earlier.
Okay. Niners into points.
Yep. I'm definitely going to look that way too. My next bet is I am going back to the Rams and Bears game. I'm taking DeAndre Swift over 13.5 receiving yards. He's gone over this in 9 games this season. He's coming off a game where he had 38 receiving yards, and on the year he's averaging 18.7 receiving yards per game, well above what the prop is set. Matchup sets up nicely too. The Rams allow the 5th most receiving yards per game to opposing running backs, giving up 33.2 yards per game with a 75% catch rate. That's exactly the type of defense you want to target with a pass catching back. I also think the script is here. Rams are top 3 in DVOA defending the tight ends, so I think they're going to be able to take Loveland away. That's going to force Caleb Williams to look elsewhere. The Bears wide receivers are just so goddamn inconsistent. It's hard to trust any of them. I don't think
it was Caleb.
100%.
I mean, Caleb and those receivers, they're all just that you can't trust anything they have to offer, except I think Swift and Monangai, I think their backs are their best group on offense.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some swing passes. I think they're going to get him involved heavily. He meant straight up. Who you got?
I'll tell you what. Vegas does not lay 7.5 in the playoffs lately.
Yeah.
I would have to lean in a straight up scenario. I would lean Seattle. But again, 7.5 is so many points. And I do think if you wanted to tease that fucker out to 13.5 and find yourself a second piece, I wouldn't hate that either. But
before I let you get going, let's do it. Let's do out the bracket. On the NFC side, Seattle and the Niners. So you're obviously going with Seattle. Right?
Yeah, I'm going Seattle. Straight up.
Bears, Rams.
I like the Rams.
Super Bowl, to go to the Super Bowl, Rams or Seahawks?
I think we're going to see McVay and the Rams get back.
And then out in the AFC, Pats and Texans.
I am torn but I'm going to go with the Patriots in a really low scoring game.
Bills or Broncos?
Like the Bills.
Bills or Pats?
If we get a Bills-Pats AFC Championship game, that is going to be one of the coolest atmospheres ever. And let's go Buffalo.
Buffalo and the Rams.
Super exciting Super Bowl. God, it's almost going to be like a home game for the Rams, but we know how much Buffalo is going to travel.
Yeah.
Buffalo people having to go to California is a very funny thought. In that scenario, I would have to go Buffalo again. I think Buffalo has they're going to only get healthier as they go along here. I don't love this Stafford and this hand-thumb situation. I don't love that at all. Yeah, and I don't love that they let Carolina. Carolina was all over their ass. Carolina had no problem moving the football. I don't trust this Ram defense like I do some of these other defenses. So yeah, I would say Buffalo.
Carolina was moving the ball great, dude. I thought they had a chance there. And I'm going to tell everyone what, I've said it a million times. Them doing well is going to set the franchise back because now they're going to be in the same token as the Cardinals and as the Dolphins, committed to an undersized quarterback for the next couple of years.
Well, the good news is, yeah, I don't know what the good news is. Honestly, I don't think that's a good situation.
You know what I mean? Because look at
yeah, and now you get a first place schedule next year, and you're not going to have a good draft pick. And yeah, no, I think your
left tackle's has a serious leg injury. He's out next year. You know, your DC, who's been great, is interviewing for jobs. They're going to take a huge step back, and it's going to be interesting.
But the thing is you're in a division where you can take a step back and still win that division because the rest of it's a little chaotic.
That's why part of me thinks the job that I know everyone's talking about, the Raiders job, you have the top.
I think Atlanta, man.
Yeah, Atlanta. Because
the only problem is that if you go to Atlanta, you got to really trust Michael Penix, who's going to play 4 seasons without playing, I think, even 10, 12 games.
How funny would it be if Tomlin goes to Atlanta and he brings Rodgers to be his quarterback and they make it again to the playoffs?
I watched Aaron Rodgers the other night. I know you did too. I don't know if I need to see any more of that. It's when it's good, it's good. It's never great. It's good. But when it's bad, it's really bad.
Now, do you think his marriage is a farce?
Who's Rodgers?
Yeah, didn't you see that thing? The guy asked him, what were those rings everyone wears? The Aura rings or whatever?
Yeah.
Someone asked him, is that just an Aura ring? Are you even married? Because a report came out, his wife has never been to a game.
Yeah, she's not involved in the picture at all. I don't know, man. That guy's so out of it. He's toned it back quite a bit, but I think that's just part of being in Pittsburgh. But yeah, I don't know. I'd give it a 60-40% chance he's probably married to some weird gal that wants to stay out of the public.
I just Googled it. He confirmed it during a 2025 press conference, though he keeps his wife pregnant. Not pregnant, Jesus.
Keeps her pregnant.
Reportedly, her name is Brittany with an I.
Nice. She's like 25.
And he has an incredible wife, as he says. So
sure.
Okay, my man. I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your schedule, coming on, talking the divisional round. Arguably the best round in the old
I always say this is the best weekend of football from a competitive standpoint. It doesn't get better than this.
And I really look forward to having you back on once we switch over to college basketball. I have to say I'm a little disappointed with Oklahoma, but it's been a good start to the season for me. Definitely diving into the hoops. Hopefully Kansas can hang on to get it done. Anytime you get Bill Self as a dog, at home, you got to take it.
Mm-hmm. They said that about Tomlin too.
You know what? I had the Steelers plus 3.5. Thanks for opening up that sore, buddy.
I'm sorry. I didn't end up getting down on it. A lot of threes out there. Couldn't get 3.5 at a decent price, but I would have also been there. I couldn't believe it when I woke up in the morning. I fell asleep super early, but I couldn't believe it.
Oh, dude, I fell asleep so bad. Like, real quick, I will tell you a story after we get off air about the game. And then, but yeah. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Give that man a follow at Okane on social media. Best of luck in your bets, and we'll talk soon, brother.
Yes, sir.